What is going on here? Oh, it must be this monitor. Oh, don't tell me this monitor's going haywire. I was just saying how great this Samsung monitor is, and it's acting up now. God, what is it with monitors today? Jesus. I don't know, what is it with these monitors today? God. Hey, the Rumbo's here. Beat Kathy and yo. God, usually as soon as I go live, Kathy's right there. And now I'm getting an echo. Oh my God. I am not having luck with monitors today. I know that this one's acting up. My big one is acting up. God, if that monitor's going bad, it's oh. It's that 40-inch curved gaming monitor. I'm watching YouTube today and it's going, all of a sudden it goes off. Then it comes back on. Then it goes off. Then it comes back on. And this one has got the flutters. And this monitor's not even a year old yet. Matter of fact, this is a commercial. I don't know why it's acting up. I thought it was the camera, but looking at the screen over here, everything's fine. Never a dull moment. I don't know. Around I turned it on. It was fine. And now it's like looking through foggy glasses. I don't know why. Like I say, the one over in Studio 2, my big fancy, what is that, an LG? Yeah, it's an LG. Went off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Maybe it's a loose connection somewhere. I'll have to check all the connections. Because this Samsung is a commercial. You can't buy these damn things. Like if I go on the Samsung website, they don't even offer these commercials on the website. You got to be a business. Matter of fact, I bought it from a business. They were upgrading all their monitors, and this one was still in the box, brand new. I don't know why it's going haywire. I'm hoping it's just a loose connection. Because originally the way it was fluttering, I thought it was a camera. But on my chat monitor, I got a crystal clear picture, so it's not the camera. I don't know. It's working. That's all right now. It's working. So, what's going on with you? You doing all right today? I mean, as well as to be expected. Good. I wonder where Kathy is. Usually she. We know there's no baseball games. Maybe she's doing that mom thing. That's what I was just saying. Kathy's usually the first one in the door. And Linda, she's probably feeding, so we'll give her some time. Because this is about feeding time. But where Kathy is, I don't know. And we're still at 110. I wonder who bailed. I could probably look, but maybe I was boring the shit out of something. They were like, I ain't subscribing to this one. Well, she was the other day. Kathy said she was getting better. Do you see where that politician got offed? I'll say one thing, that sniper was a good shot. He took one shot. That's it. Then he bailed. I'm out of here. Dropped the gun and was like, I'm out of here. Well, I really didn't get into the news story. All I know was, like Trump said, he was a big help getting him reelected, so I assumed he was a politician. I don't know. And then down in Florida today, oh yeah, Jesus. Oh, was it 6 people in Florida, I think? World's going crazy. Oh, I figured there'd be a bunch of them posted, but I didn't watch any of them. As a matter of fact, the interesting thing was it was during a Q&A session, and he happened to be talking about gun violence. He was answering somebody's question on gun violence, and then, whoops. And it was amazing how he blended in that college. Yeah, the graphic stuff don't bother me. I worked for the coroner's office for 2 years. Seen it all. I guess we'll get started and hope everybody shows up. Broadcasting live from station WDWL TV Studio 1. And our corporate offices are on Grumpy Vulture Boulevard. And my personal studios are located on Grumpy Old Man Road. And for you first timers, I happen to be the Grumpy Old Man. All right, take your bow and the Grumpy Vulture. Look at the camera, get your banner straight. You don't need no spotlight. See you, bye. There we go. Gee, I see they find that Philadelphia player that spit at that Cowboys player $57,000. He was thinking it was going to be 10, maybe 15. I bet when his agent called, said, "Hey, your bank account's going to be a little lighter, to the tune of 57 grand." Although that was disgusting. I watched the replays and he said it was accident. Yeah, accident. Boy, Kathy's really late. Wow. I'm sure she'll have a good excuse. If she shows up, maybe she's busy. Maybe her daughter took her to dinner. For nursing her back to health with them 55-gallon drums of chicken soup. The miracle cure-all. I can remember if I wasn't feeling 100%, my grandmother would be like, "Here, eat this bowl of chicken soup." I don't know where she... It wasn't out of a can because she didn't believe in canned soup. She must have had jars of chicken soup in the refrigerator. "Here, eat this chicken soup. It'll make you feel better." How about tomato? No, it's got to be chicken. Okay. Finish the bowl of soup. You feel better? No. Okay, I feel better. You know, there's certain things in your life that you remember exactly where you were. And to this day, I remember exactly where I was when Kennedy got shot. And I remember exactly what I was doing on 9/11. Don't ask me what I did Monday, but those 2 days I can remember exactly where I was. "9/11 happened to be my day off. And I was just getting ready to turn the TV off and go up to the homeless depot. And all of a sudden, breaking news! And they showed a plane. I was like, holy shit, was he off course? And then, and I'll tell you what, the first one they weren't really quite ready for. But that second one, I remember them cameramen from the local news station, they were zoomed right in. You could watch that. And you know, Ron, they interviewed the guy from the flight school, and it didn't sink in. He said they were more worried about taking off than landing. Because they had practiced several takeoffs. And he said, okay, we're going to start practicing landings. And the two guys went, yeah, we know how to do that. No problem. Nah, don't worry about it. And he said, then it made sense because they weren't planning on landing. Matter of fact, the fire station up in Lakewood has a big I-beam. I remember when they brought it in, had police escorts and everything coming through the city. They built a memorial out in front of the fire station. I got pictures of it somewhere. Although, if I want to go see it, it's only 10 minutes away. Yeah, you know, Ron, I just thought of that. With her daughter working for EMS, that might be where she's at. They might have a memorial service. I didn't think of that. You thought of that. I just thought of it because I remember her daughter's. You were in a casino that early in the morning? And then the rest of the day there was no local, no, nothing. Nothing. All three stations. Well, all four in Cleveland. And the next day they showed all the fire trucks that got crushed and burned and I remember the next day they were interviewing this young lady. She had to be in her early to mid 20s. And she worked on, I think it was the 72nd floor of Trade Center 1. And she missed her train. She took the train into work every day. And she missed her train by about 15 seconds. She ran out on the platform and the doors closed and she said, had she not missed her train, she wouldn't have been there. She'd have been at her desk. You know, Ron, the whole situation was extremely sad. What was really got me was the people that were leaping from the building. And you know, at that point, it was either like get killed in the fire or knowing that when you hit the ground, it ain't going to be a win-win situation. Yeah, that was, oh man. Just just watching them people, that's gotta, that's gotta be a tough decision to make. Because once you leave solid footing, although they say that you really go before you hit the ground. Although, and I know New York had their reasons, I still think they should have built 2 towers instead of that one. But I would tend to think after that it would be hard getting tenants. I would almost guarantee any of the people that survived probably never worked in a high rise again. In Cleveland, I would never work above the 10th floor. If I had to work in a high rise. 10th floor, that's it. No higher. Because in Cleveland, that's all the farther the rescue truck ladders go. 10 floors. If you're on the 11th, see ya. Yeah, when my brother-in-law was still with the fire department, I asked him, how high do the extension ladders go? He said 10 stories. That's it. Gee, I thought Linda'd be here by now. It don't take this long to feed. I don't have my counter anymore. I don't know if I used to know how many people were actually watching. But my counter don't work anymore. When they got weather problems. I forget she's in that hurricane zone. Although I didn't think there were any hurricanes or tropical storms. Although I didn't look at the world weather today either. I don't know if I can bring it up. Oh, I can't bring up the national. Just Cleveland. No, Cleveland only. Well, look who's here. Ron and I thought maybe you were at a 9/11 memorial service. Okay, Ron and I said exactly where we were when the plane basically hit the first tower. Do you remember where you were? I told Ron I still remember exactly where I was when Kennedy was assassinated. Okay, good grandma helping with homework. I was in sixth grade, and the teacher had just finished up a slideshow of her trip to Egypt. And I had returned the slide projector to the storeroom. And then I had to take the key for the storeroom to the front office. And when I walked in, both the principal and the secretary were in tears. And I said, I got the key. Just put it on the counter and go back to your classroom. Okay. Then about 10 minutes after that, the principal made the rounds to each room, told us what happened, and dismissed school. And I'll never forget, I come home and my mother's like, what are you doing home early? I said, they dismissed school early. Oh, no, no. You must have cut class. I told her, I said, they closed the school because the president got shot. Oh, don't start that shit with me. That's a sick excuse. I said, well, then turn on the radio or the TV. She turned on the radio, and there, there was the newscast going. But I was telling Ron the morning of 9/11, it happened to be my day off. And I had the TV on, and I was just walking over to shut the TV off to go to Homeless Depot. And yeah, me too, both. I can still, if I close my eyes, I can visualize myself in grade school, and then I can visualize myself. I was just walking over to grab the remote to turn the TV off. Breaking news. And they showed the first plane. They kept showing it and showing it and showing it. Well, look who's here. You still having a hard time finding finding me? gotta be like Kathy. She usually has my channel up and waits for the live to pop, and then she clicks on it. Yeah, if it had been 5 minutes earlier, I'd have been on the way to Homeless Depot because I had the morning news on, and I think there was a commercial, and all of a sudden it popped, breaking news, and I was like, oh, what's the breaking news? And then I was like, holy shit, was he off course? And then the second one hit, and I was like, oh, you can't have two planes off, not in New York City. And then I remember when they shut all the airports down and grounded all the flights. It was so strange not hearing a plane in the sky because I'm in the landing pattern. And not one plane. No. Because I'll tell you what, in the morning, it's scary watching that FedEx super freighter come in to land at the airport. And he comes over the house and it's like, I'm like, how can that plane fly that slow without falling out of the sky? Yeah, that had to be strange, Ron. All of a sudden, all the TVs and the like, what are they turning the TVs on for? Oh, good old Matt. There's a guy that will never get a job in broadcasting as long as he lives. Oh, you know, I couldn't watch any news clips after that because it was on all day long. And I mean, yeah, it should have been, but in all four stations, NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, not to mention all the cable, like CNN and it was unrealistic. I couldn't. You're watching that plane, and all right, believe me, air traffic control would not let a jet get that far off course. But I'm thinking, okay, somebody screwed up. And then when the second one, I was like, nobody screwed up. And then that one that hit in Pennsylvania, although the passengers forced that one down. It's still hard to believe, although security at airports was really lax. And those guys just walked past security, walked past everybody, got on the plane. Got takeoff instructions. It was just a sad day. And I was telling Ron, the thing that really hit me was the people that were jumping out of the building. Because they knew they just knew when they landed they weren't going to get up and brush the dust off of them. I don't know if I could do that. Although it would have been a hard decision, burning building or jump. I didn't want to watch any TV after that. I really didn't. I just. Now, thankfully, it's not like now don't take me wrong on this one, okay? It's not like I don't respect what happened. But thankfully, over the years, they don't keep harping on it. Yes, it's mentioned in the news, but luckily, like the station I was watching, that they didn't play all the, we saw it over and over and over and over and over. Matter of fact, they showed a couple of memorial services in different areas of the United States, but that was it. Because I can remember the first 5 years. Oh, gee, they showed it over and over and over and over. We saw it. No disrespect to all the poor people that perished. But although a couple of years ago, I watched an interview with a guy that just barely made it out of the building. They were in the stairwells, and I think he was still like 5 floors up, and they started to feel that building shake. And then all of a sudden it started to rumble. And he said, I think he had made it down to like the intermittent stairwell between the first and the second floor. And he said then he went unconscious. And being in that stairwell, him and one of the guys that he had worked with, the stairwell, it came down and it formed a pocket. And they were alive. He said when he came to, he was being pulled out of the rubble. And the fire department said the way that stairwell collapsed, it formed like a box around the two of them. Oop, easy. But he said when they got to the second floor and made that turn, he said that whole building just shook. And he don't know how long he had laid there unconscious. Talk about being in the right place at the right time. Jesus. But at least now they don't harp on it and harp on it and harp on it and harp on it like they did for 2, 3, 4, 5 years afterwards. Jeez. Like I say, I have no disrespect to all the poor people that didn't make it out, but we didn't need to see it over and over and over and over. I would turn the news on. Matter of fact, for second, third, fourth, maybe fifth year on 9/11, I wouldn't even watch TV. I think I watched DVDs. my case came from my phone today. Mint green. I love these cases. They got this little magnet latch. And then you got pockets for whatever, credit cards, what, I don't know. I don't put them in there. The only thing is, when I use the wireless charger, I have to take it out of the case because it won't go through the case. So I have a dark green for the other phone and a mint green for the new phone. Linda, I hope not. But with this wacky people nowadays, now it's like every time you turn the TV on, there's a shooting somewhere. I just saw a quick quip about down in Florida. I'm like, what is going on with people nowadays? It's like all these young kids, you know, back in the day, you went behind the school and you settled a fight with fists. Not today. And you not only settled the fight with fists, when the fight was over, you shook hands. I went up to the store today, and both my little cuties were working. One was up at the service desk and one was at the register. And the one that was at the register last month finally had enough money to buy herself a car. I don't know what, it's a Kia Forte, I don't know what year it is. And she said, Monday, somebody hit her car in the parking lot. She hasn't had it 2 months. And of course, you know, as honest as people are nowadays, they didn't leave a note or anything. Because she told me, she said, go out and take a look at it when you leave. And you can see the bumper mark in the door. So they knew they hit it. I forgot to ask her. I don't know if they have cameras in the parking lot or not. Although, perfect, yeah, true story. Lakewood is just the next suburb over. There was a guy, he wasn't paying attention, and he backed out of his driveway, and he hit this car parked on the street. And he didn't recognize it as being one of his neighbors. So, he leaves a detailed note. Here's my name, my address, my phone number, my insurance company. Call me. I'm sorry, I'm sorry I hit your car. Now, the person that owned the car appreciated the note. So they called the police to make a report. The guy that left the note got cited for leaving the scene of an accident. And he said, he was being interviewed on TV, and he said, I will never leave a note again. I'll take my chances. He was kind enough to leave a detailed note, and the Lakewood police cited him for leaving the scene of an accident. And he said on TV, if I ever do it again, I'll take my chances that nobody sees me. Because I think in Ohio, I think that's a 4-point ticket. Yeah, he said the next day, Lakewood is at it, or that evening, they were at his house. Did you leave this note? Yes. Here's a ticket. Have a nice day. I don't know, Ron, I forgot to ask her. I know Mark's has a shitload of security cameras inside. I don't know if they have them outside. Well, Kathy, you know, Lakewood, they're assholes anyway. And of course, like he said, it screwed up his insurance because getting a ticket. But he said literally on TV, if I ever hit somebody's car, I'm not leaving no notes. I'll take my chances. And the person that hit the little cutie's car didn't leave a note either. Well, you're not supposed to, Linda, but he was in a hurry. He was late for work, but he left a detailed note. Because I asked her, I said, well, Man, you just no sooner got a car, you got your insurance. I said, what are you going to do? Luckily, her father knows a guy that owns a body shop. So he's going to get the car fixed for her. But they put it this way. The door's going to need a new door skin. They knew they hit that car. They knew they hit that car. And it's like, whoa, shit, I'm getting out of here. And she just got it 2 months ago. She got her license. She'd been saving. She bought her own car. I felt sorry for her. And then when I saw the door, I was like, shit, that ain't no shopping cart dent. Yeah, her car is like a dark silver gray. And there was white paint all the way down the door. Well, they probably, suspended license, no insurance. God, the other day I was watching Judge Middleton, and he had 4 people back to back driving under suspension. People don't care. They're like, I won't get stopped. Screw it, I'll drive. I mean, she felt bad enough. But after I saw the car, I was going to go back in and say, well, they probably didn't have a license, or they probably didn't have insurance, or they were probably drunk. I didn't want to make her feel any worse than she was feeling already. I really felt sorry for her. You save and you save and you save. You get your license. And you go out on your own. Now, I'm sure her father was with her, but you buy your own car. You get insurance. And then you get treated like that. And one thing I've been arguing until I'm blue in the face. In Ohio, you don't have to produce your insurance when you get your license plates. They hand you a form, and it says, yes, I have insurance, no, I don't. Well, nobody marks no. Oh, yes, I do. Okay, here's your license plates. Have a nice day. But, a lot of states, and I know they don't do it in Ohio, a a lot of states offer a 3-month insurance policy. So, a month before you're due to get your license plates, you buy insurance. Then the next month you go get your license plates. And then at the end of the 3rd month, you let the insurance expire. Now in Ohio, you have to do a mandatory 6 month at least. But it's a joke. It's an utter joke. When you go to get your license plates or your sticker, they give you a form to sign. And it says, yes, I have insurance. No, I don't. No one in their right mind is going to go, no. But I would tend to think, as laxed as we are in Ohio, if somebody did check no, the girl wouldn't even look at it. Sign the form, here you go. Okay, here's your sticker. Have a nice day. Next. But you do not have to physically show an insurance card. It's a joke. Now me, I won't even drive a vehicle until I've got insurance on it. And I've been like that from day one. You know, as soon as I get the title for the Passat, before I even bring it across the street, I'm going to call Progressive and say, put this car on my policy, please. Now, every now and then, Ohio will send a letter, a random letter. You recently, got license plates, or you recently got your sticker. Send us proof of insurance. But to go in and just go, yep, I got insurance, here you go, is bullshit. And my congresswoman's tired of hearing from me. Oh, we've tried to pass bills, there's so many against it. Well, yeah, because they don't have to spend the money for insurance, that's why. Now, I know in some states, when the police run your license plate, it'll come back whether you're insured or not. And then they have the right to stop you and tow your car. But not Ohio. Ohio's a joke. I would say it's probably a staggering number of people in this state that do not have insurance. Because I remember one year, Now I do mine online. I hate going to the Bureau of Motor Vehicles and standing in line. But the one year, the girl handed me the form. I checked, yes, I have insurance. I handed it back with my insurance card. She was like, I don't need that. Don't you want to verify? I don't need that. No, what Ohio needs to do is pass a law that when you are getting a registration renewal, you show proof that you are insured. I wouldn't think of driving a vehicle. It'd be my luck I'd pull out of the driveway and hit somebody. Not in Ohio. If the police run your license plate, they have no idea whether you're insured or not because Ohio doesn't have that in the system. It's like I say, I've been arguing with my congresswoman for years. Well, the problem is it's never gone on the ballot. She introduces a bill in Congress in the state, and it gets buried. It don't even come up for a vote. Oh, put that bill away. We got more important things. And the problem, like she said, I can't get enough support. Now, you would think other Congress people would go, oh, that's a good idea. Now, see, Pennsylvania takes it one step farther. Before you can get license plates renewed, your car has to go in for inspection. And if your car doesn't pass inspection by the state, you don't get your license plates, whether you're insured or not. Your car didn't. And then you have to go get fixed whatever's wrong, come back with proof, then your car passes, and they give you a form to take to the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. The only thing they do here in Ohio is that stupid e-check. They plug your car in the computer, it either passes or fails. If it fails, you don't get your sticker or your license plates. Which is a joke. That e-check is a joke. Because out of 88 counties in Ohio, only 6 do the e-check. The other counties did away with it. See, when I bought the Nissan, it was 24 years and 6 months old, and it wouldn't pass. And I was like, shit, I'm not spending money to get this thing fixed. Well, luckily, the virus hit. And the governor said, there's a moratorium on renewing registrations. Because they closed the Title Bureau and the License Bureau. So I had an expired temp tag. And I drove around for 6 months on that expired tag. And then finally, January of 2021, they opened the Title Bureau and the License Bureaus. And by then, the shitbox was 25 years old and it was exempt. So I just went in and went, here's my title. Okay, here's your license plates. Have a nice day. See, that's why I have to wait until January with the Passat. Because come January, it will turn 25. And I don't need an e-check. Because I guarantee it won't pass an e-check. Because the temporary tags are good for 45 days. Now, you don't need an e-check to get a temporary tag. So, like the last week of November or the first week of December, I'll go get a temporary tag. And then come January, I can get my plates. I can fully register it come January. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll get a temporary tag. I'll drive it around to work the bugs out of it. And then in January, give me my license plates. That's why I won't own anything newer than 25 years old. Because I don't have to put up with that e-check bullshit. Because I can imagine if I take my scanner and plug it in, that thing will trouble codes all over the place. That was one of the reasons that Jim didn't get it fixed. Besides the burnout sunroof motor and the door motor, there was some other problem. he was like, yeah, I'll just go buy something else. Ow. Oh, no wonder. I wonder what was stabbing me in the side of the head. Damn ear stud got a long back on it. Hey. There. Better. Oh, so much better. I was like, what the hell is sticking me in the side of the head? I forgot I had my ear stud in. My fancy one. Isn't that fancy? Kathy, were you here when I showed I got my phone case today? Isn't that mint green cool? I like these because it's got this little magnet strip. And my phone sits in there real... See, I told you, it didn't make any difference what color the phone is in. The only thing you see is that blue back there. I think it was like $9 or $10 on eBay. I like it because, first of all, it protects the hell out of the phone. And then you got these, you know, you can put credit cards or whatever, I don't know. But it's got the nice magnetic clip. God, it took me over an hour to program all the shit in that phone. Although what I do like is the fingerprint sensor is right there, instead of it being on the back. What do you mean fingerprint not recognized? Don't give me that shit. Of course, I put a new picture of Fat Boy on my screen. Isn't he cute with his little front feet folded and nothing but belly? Nothing but belly. The girls up at Mark's got a good laugh. She's like, he looks huge. I said, he is. Yeah, he was laying next to the desk this morning. I said, oh, I'm going to try the camera out. Click. So that's my home screen, lock screen, you name it screen. Fat Boy. Yeah, I got everything set up. What a pain these new smartphones are. Jesus. It took forever with the fingerprint sensor. And then you can do one of two ways. One of three ways. I can put my pin in, or I can use my thumb, or I can look at the camera. The problem is, when I went to set up the front camera, it said, remove glasses. Now, 99% of the time, I'm wearing these. In order for me to unlock the camera, or unlock the phone, by looking at the camera, I have to take my glasses off. I looked at the camera and said, please remove eyeglasses. Although I'll just hit it with my thumb. And then you gotta set up well, let's see, I set up my stylus. If you forget to put the stylus back in the phone and I go in the other room, it'll tell me. Because you have to, I had to put in bedroom, living room, kitchen. It has a floor plan of a house. So bedroom, studio, bathroom, kitchen. Yeah. So if I'm in here and I pick up the phone and I go to the kitchen, a warning comes up on the screen. Stylus in studio. Oh, thank you. And the phone vibrates. Stylus in studio. Or bedroom, or wherever you leave it. That feature I like. And then, like I say, I had to set up the thumbprint. I had to set up the front-facing camera. I had to set up photos to SD card instead of camera. Took me an hour. Now, mind you, a lot of it got done yesterday. It took me another hour today. It was just one thing after another. I mean, geez, back in 2022, when I got the other, all you did was set the two phones down next to each other, and that was it. I didn't have to set nothing up. This, I was figuring sooner or later it's going to ask me to put in a recipe for cornbread or something. I have 4 of the hot Slovenian sausages left. So I decided I'm going to put them in the slow cooker with sauerkraut. So I go up to the store today. Kathy, remember back in the day, and Linda, you walked in and you bought sauerkraut. Oh no, now you have regular sauerkraut, Bavarian sauerkraut, German sauerkraut, sauerkraut with caraway seeds, yeah, British sauerkraut, Slovenian sauerkraut. Do we need that many varieties of sauerkraut? So I got Bavarian. I remember when I was back a teenager, my mother would say, pick up a thing of sauerkraut. Walk in the store, okay, sauerkraut. Now you have a whole section. Every flavor under the sun. Now, I usually get authentic German sauerkraut. Today I got the Bavarian. But when I got home, I was thinking, I've never had the sauerkraut with caraway seeds. I guess the next time, oh yeah, glass jars, tin cans, plastic bags. If I go up to the butcher shop, they have a barrel. They scoop it out and put it in a zip bag for you. Although, you know, Kathy, Ohio is the largest maker of sauerkraut in the United States. I can't remember where. I've been there. Oh, it's been 30 years ago. And you got a tour of the plant. And there's got to be 100 swimming pools. But they're not swimming pools. They dump in a semi-load of sauerkraut, fill it with water and, I don't know, 200 pounds of salt, and then they cover it, and then they fill the next one. It was like they get a tractor trailer full of cabbage, and it goes in the cleaning machine and the shredder, and then there's a conveyor belt, and they fill the swimming pool with cabbage, and then fill it with water and salt and cover it up. And it sits like that for like 3 months, I think. It was unbelievable. But Ohio is the largest sauerkraut maker in the United States. At one time, we used to be the largest egg producer in Croton, Ohio. I didn't tour that plant, no. But it was unbelievable. Just giant swimming pools. That's what it looked like. Yeah, well, Del Monte is. They, I'm talking 30 years ago. Now, possibly Del Monte might be larger. But 30 years ago, Ohio was the largest producer of sauerkraut in the United States. And it was cool. But it showed this semi, 40-foot semi full of cabbage, and it backed up to the loading dock, and the cabbages rolled into the cleaning machine, and then from the cleaning machine it went to the shredder, and the shredder burped it out on a conveyor belt, and they fill up a swimming pool. Oh, move next, fill up a swimming pool. And it's cabbage, water, and salt. A no-brainer to make sauerkraut. And then at the end of the tour, we got a jar of sauerkraut. Here you go. Thanks for touring the plant. Oh, okay. Thank you. Oh, God. That's blasphemy. I'll never forget the one time. I can't remember what we were having. I think ribs and sauerkraut. I like spare ribs and sauerkraut. And Dale's mother rinsed the sauerkraut. I went bonkers. I go, what are you doing? Oh, it's too sour. That's why they call it sauerkraut. I had to go up to the store and get a can of sauerkraut juice and poured it in the cooker. I was like, gee, rinsed sauerkraut is nothing more than shredded cabbage. Yeah, she had it in a colander, rinsing away. What are you doing? I'm rinsing the sauerkraut. I thought I was going to have heart failure. So she put the ribs in the kraut in the oven. I went up to the store, got a can of sauerkraut juice. Oh, yeah. For me, the more sour, the better. Now, I've had regular, snow floss or Del Monte. The last time I made kibasi and sauerkraut in the crock pot, I got the German, which would. This time I got the Bavarian. Next time I'll have to get the sauerkraut with caraway seeds. I like caraway seeds. But I figured I'd try the authentic. No, it's authentic Bavarian. Not just Bavarian, authentic. Oh, I'll tell you what, I love sauerkraut. I absolutely love it. Now I've got these 4 links. Well, they're about maybe 8 inches long, about that big around. I will put them in the slow cooker, and I'll probably pack that whole jar in the slow cooker. Because I can eat it by the forkful. Yummy. As a matter of fact, I got some mild blinks. I figured I'd try them. I never tried the mild. Maybe I'll save some of them and then go get some sauerkraut with caraway seeds and see how that tastes. During the winter, I use the hell out of my crock pot. Oh man. I'll make stew in it, chili in it, soup, pulled pork, barbecue beef. Because you just dump everything in, put the lid on, turn it on. Done. Come dinner time, dinner's ready. Best invention on earth, crock pot. Best. And what was even a better invention when they made it with the removable crock. Man, it used to be a pain in the ass cleaning them when the crock was built into it. And mine is personal size. I'll get 2 meals because I'll put the 4 Slovenian sausage in there and the sauerkraut. And then whenever I make it, I'll have 2 for 1 meal and half a bucket full of sauerkraut, and then 2 for another meal with the other half a bucket of sauerkraut. But I'll get, smoked sausage, kibasi. If baby back ribs are on sale, I'll get a slab of baby backs and pack them in the crock with sauerkraut. I'll never forget the first time I made ribs and kraut. My neighbor come over, he goes, "What are you making?" I said, "Spare ribs and sauerkraut." "What? Spare ribs and sauerkraut? You ruined a good set of ribs." "No, I don't." "Oh, I've done that, Linda. If I have extra sauerkraut left over, anything with sauerkraut is good." Yeah, if they have a little pork roast, I'll buy it, put it in the crock pot and smother it in sauerkraut. Oh, I haven't had bread dumplings since my grandmother passed away. Oh, jeez. My grandmother could, oh. Yeah, I'll tell you what, when she passed away, a lot of good eating went with her. But if it can be made with sauerkraut, I'll make it. Not to mention, it flushes your colon. Oh, good coffee. You ought to see this wonky mug. You can tell that there was no quality control. It's oval. Look at this, round and then flat over here. Talk about no quality control. Got this big giant handle and then a flat spot. I don't know if you, how well you can, I don't want to pour the coffee all over my desk. It's not round. Of course, made in China. Yeah, it's round here, and then it goes flat, and then there's a wonky part. I looked at them on the shelf. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. They were in closeouts at Mark's. 50 cents. I bought one. They're all out of shape. Hilarious. I've never seen a coffee cup that's so fucked up in my life. It's like they got dropped when they were taking them out of the kiln. Oops. Oh, put that over here. We'll sell it to the Americans. They'll buy it. Well, I broke a coffee mug. So I needed another one, and I figured I'll buy this reject for 50 cents. Then I looked on the bottom, it said made in China. I went, whoop, no quality control. Uh-oh. Hang on a second. Out of smokes. It was made in Solon. Why, they have a coffee mug company in Solon? You still in here, fat boy? You're not laying on your back. I'm not complaining, but it's strange. He started that last week. He lays constantly at my feet. I'm surprised he isn't over here. Walker China plant. I didn't know it was in Solon. I didn't know we had a plant like that. I guess it wasn't too well known by me. Because I remember in Ohio, at one time we had a glass plant. I think Corning had a plant in Ohio. when we had industry in Ohio. God, if it wasn't for Honda and Toyota, matter of fact, Honda is actually expanding the plant. Of course, I think Ohio gave them 50-year tax abatement. I would like to go down to the Honda plant. I hear they got a big test track down there. Oh, that's how you build up your Waka China collection, huh? Go out to the old discard pile. Oh, hey, this plate's okay. Oh, look, another one. They don't match. That's okay, it's a plate. Bunch of mismatched plates, cups, saucers. I didn't know that. I take it they're not there anymore. Although who uses China? I think China went out with my grandparents. Every holiday, oh, out would come Grandma's China. I think my mother sold all her china to an antique dealer. Because we were only allowed to use it for special occasions. I'm trying to think what the design was on the. I think around the edge of the plate was roses. I'm pretty sure that's what. I think it was roses. Because she had 6 Waterford crystal water goblets. And I remember my grandfather always would show us how you could tell it was real crystal, Waterford crystal, because he'd dip his finger in the water and run it around the rim, and it would sing. Eee. Used to piss my grandmother off. You gotta do that every holiday? Here, look. Eee. And boy, God forbid you clink one of them. But yeah, she had china plates and real silverware. Because she'd polish the shit out of that stuff before dinner. And then after dinner, everything got washed, put away real quick. I don't know what kind of china it was. I know it had roses. Roses around the on stems. And she was so proud of that table when she had it set. And then after dinner, she'd wash it, dry it, and put it in a box with layers of newspaper. The china got put away. Although it was always a feast over at their house every holiday. Oh. Because I remember at Christmas, my grandfather would get a little piglet. Of course, it had the apple in its mouth. The thing barely fit in the oven. Then he'd gently take it out of the cooker and put it on the platter. And that piglet would be looking at you with that apple in its mouth. I'd like, please turn it around. I don't want it to look at me. Franciscan apple pattern. Yeah, my grandmother's was roses. I remember the red roses. But I couldn't tell you what brand it was. What's that, Linda? Make the crystal sing? That is so cool. Yeah, my grandfather, every holiday, listen to this, and make it sing. But I think I know when my grandmother passed away, my mother and my father went over to her house and called an antique dealer. Everything's for sale, everything. I really wanted the radio. I wanted that big monster RCA radio that was in her living room, right next to the couch, that she would listen to the ball game on. That got antique dealer. I'll give you $10. Sold. That, and I wanted the telephone. Because her telephone went back to like the 1930s. That big old monster with the dial. Those are the only two things I wanted. The radio and the old telephone. Because I remember when Touchtone came out. And I was like, Grandma, aren't you going to get a Touchtone phone? Nothing wrong with my phone. I don't need a new one. But it's Touchtone. So my dial works perfect. That phone had to be from the 1930s. A heavy old black monster. She would not get a new phone. It's not broke. It works. Yeah, Grandma, but the receiver weighs 70 pounds. Not broke. It works. She had this little telephone stand in the corner of the living room. I'll never forget it. The only thing that sat on it was the phone and a lamp. A small lamp. And she had a special chair next to the little table. And she'd sit and talk on the phone. Then move back to the couch and turn the radio on. Because I think that little table was made just for telephone. But it was right in the corner, had a little curved front. She had a little lamp and the phone. And a notepad and a pencil in case she had to write something down. And she had it was like a padded kitchen chair next to the phone. Then I told her, I says, Grandma, the cord is long enough you could carry it over and sit on the couch. No. Now, my grandfather never said things. That's the way Grandma wants it. But well, it was their first telephone. So it had to be in the 30s. But I remember it weighed a ton. That was the heaviest goddamn receiver. They were all alike, weren't they, Kathy? All our grandparents were all alike. I'll never forget the time I picked the phone up and I said, look, the cord will reach to the couch. Put that back. Goes on that table. Okay. I'm just showing you it'll reach to the couch. That's why I have a table. Yeah, well, it'd be more comfortable sitting on the couch talking on the phone. I like my chair. Okay. Although I do have one thing that my parents never knew I got from my grandmother's house. I've got a floor lamp. It's got a big metal base on it and and then a little arm, and then the lamp with a shade and a pull chain, because the pull chain broke. and I fixed it. And I never got time to take it back. And then she ended up in the nursing home. And it's out in the living room. To this day, I still have that thing's got to be from the 20s, 30s. And it still works. Oh, our phone at home, we originally had a black wall phone in the kitchen. And then my parents repainted the kitchen, kind of a medium green and white. And my mother got that ugly green telephone. Olive green. It was the most hideous color. Yet we upgraded. Oh, Kathy, it's got a big, heavy base on it. And then it's got this round metal tube that comes up, and it attaches to an arm with a fancy spiral top there. And then the arm comes out, and then you have the lamp and the shade and a little pull chain. The arm is about this, and then the shade is here. I use it for a nightlight in the living room. And it's got the cloth cord. No plastic, cloth. And that Bakelite brown plastic plug on the end of the cloth cord. And I make sure that thing isn't frayed anywhere, but it's that cloth. When's the last time you saw a cloth cord with that rectangular Bakelite plastic plug? Still got the original cord, original plug. The only thing I had to fix was the pull chain part. Otherwise, it's all original. Well, except for the shade. The shade, the cloth fell apart. And it had fringe. It was a cloth shade with fringe. And it finally fell apart. I had to throw it away. Yeah, that good old fringe. Everything back in the day had fringe. Gold fringe. But the shade, it finally, I couldn't do anything with it. It was falling apart. But the shade that I got looks old. Because I wanted something that looked about as close to original. The gold is all tarnished on it and that. I don't care. I think it's cool. The only thing I got out of my grandmother's house was that corner lamp. Matter of fact, it sat at my grandfather's end of the couch. And that's how he'd read the paper, with that lamp. So that's the one memento I have besides my hoodlum knife. I'm going to become a hoodlum. Yeah, she yelled at my grandfather, "You're turning him into a hoodlum." Never became a hoodlum. Never stabbed anybody. Of course, with that little dinky blade. I really wanted one of my grandfather's pipes. All he smoked was them crook pipes. Oh God, I remember them. My aunt had one. My grandmother didn't. I remember that. Yeah, with the glass. The claw feet with the glass. Oh God, those things were so neat. My aunt had one in the middle of her living room. I don't know my grandmother that well. Their living room wasn't that big. Yeah, I remember those. Because they looked like cue balls. White glass cue balls. But they were glass. Man, what I wouldn't give to have one of them today. Oh my God. I don't know what I'd do with it. Put the bird on it. Here. Sit here. Don't give me no shit. Well, people, I think it's about that time. Oh, come on, Tab, what are you doing? What happened here? Don't give me a hard time. Bad enough my monitor's acting up. We know where, right here, WDWL TV. Home of the Grumpy Vulture. And the Grumpy Old Man. With that, everybody, thanks for being here. It's been another fun night. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we will meet again tomorrow night.